feminism was about wanting women to become men.
I'm 19 years old, married, no degree, no 9 to 5, and I'm exactly where I want to be. Married.
You remember things that never happened.
When I come
Nostalgia is consuming us.
Hi, my name is Alejandra, and today I want to talk about my research project, which is about the relationship between nostalgia, the past, the present, and the future. So, nostalgia is everywhere. It might be hearing a song that reminds us about our childhood. It can be in a movie, like rewatching a movie that we saw many times, um, recalling a family tradition, or even feeling a connection through a fashion era, music, and popular culture. But at first glance, nostalgia seems to be completely harmless because it's a human emotion. It's natural, and can be can help us to connect with our identity and our experiences and the people who have been important to us, or that have been part of our lives. However, my research analyzed what happens when nostalgia stops being emotional or personal memory and begins to influence how people understand society, culture, and political ideas. The central question of my research is, when does nostalgia stop helping us remember the past and start preventing us from understanding the present? So, for this research, I'm gonna use this amazing poster to explain my argument. My thesis is, even if nostalgia can have positive effects, strengthening our identity and social connections, when it transforms into an idealized version of the past, it can contribute into declinism and become a tool to influence social beliefs, political ideas, and how people perceive change. In other words, the problem is not remembering the past. The problem is when we begin to think, to believe that the past was better and the present or the future is not gonna be better than the past. Never. But before discussing the potential dangers of nostalgia, it's important to acknowledge that this emotion is not entirely negative. The central idea that I'm gonna touch right now is this distinction between nostalgia and declinism, because nostalgia says there were valuable moments in the past that shape who I am. But in the other hand, declinism says the past was better and everything is getting worse. And this distinction is important because declinism can create an incomplete view of the past. Human memory is not a perfect recording of the past, and we often remember the positive aspects of an era, of a time, while forgetting the problems that also existed on those times. That's why we must ask to ourselves, okay, the past was better, but better for whom? Many eras that are romanticized today were also marked by war, discrimination, segregation, inequality, unlimited rights for various groups. For instance, an era might be remembered for its music, fashion, or sense of community, yet it could simultaneously have been a time when many women had less independence. Certain communities face discrimination and many people struggle with basic rights. Nostalgia may preserve happy memories, but the full history always have diverse experiences depending on who lived through them. My research also analyzed how nostalgia might be present in culture and politics. Popular culture, we can see these trends like the Y2K aesthetic, where many people are reviving elements from the early 2000s like music, fashion, and visual styles from that era. Michael Wall's article, Popular Music and Retro Culture in Digital Era, explains how retro culture has expanded in the digital age as we now have constant access to content from the past and the ability to reinterpret it. However, this constant backward gaze can foster the notion that the new generation lacks of creativity or that things just aren't the way they used to be. This can cause us to overlook the fact that every generation possesses the capacity to create new forms of art and expression. Nostalgia also plays a role in politics. Certain movements use this image of a supposedly better past to evoke feelings of loss, stability, and belonging. One example is the slogan Make America Great Again, which relies on the idea that there was a time in the past when society was superior and that returning to that era is the solution. My aim is not to dictate whether one should approve or reject a political movement or political idea. Rather, my goal is to analyze how nostalgia can function as a tool of persuasion and how a selective view of the past can shape people's understanding of the present. In conclusion, nostalgia is not the enemy. It is a powerful emotion that helps us understand our identity and our history. The problem arises when nostalgia stops to be a connection to our past and becomes a rejection to the of the present. It can teach us, inspire us, and help us to understand who we are. But it should not prevent us from imagining new possibilities. So the real question is not whether we should remember the past. The real question that I'm gonna drop right now to you to think about it, just think about it. Are we using the past to understand our present and the future? Or are we using it to escape from our present? That's it. That was my presentation. So thank you so much. Bye.